That night, I realized something I never thought I'd have to face as a mother. It wasn't anger that broke me, it was the silence that came after. The line had been crossed, and once it was, nothing would ever be the same again. Watch till the end, because sometimes the truth we hide from is the one that sets us free. I used to believe that family could survive anything: distance, pain, misunderstanding, even betrayal. But what happened between me and my son tested that belief in ways I still struggled to understand. Daniel was my pride, my only child. After my husband died, he became both my reason to live and the mirror that showed me how much I'd lost. I thought we were closer than most mothers and sons. We shared everything. Or at least, I thought we did. Grief changes people. It reshapes love into something sharp. There were nights when Daniel would sit quietly at the dinner table, staring at his food, and I'd see that same emptiness that once filled my husband's eyes. I wanted to help him, to hold him, but every time I tried, he'd pull away a little more. It started with small things: slammed doors, short answers, a bitterness I couldn't name. I told myself it was just adolescence. That time would heal it. But time doesn't heal what truth can't touch. One evening, I came home from work to find Daniel in my study. He was standing in front of the desk, holding something, a folder I hadn't seen in years. His eyes were red. His jaw was clenched. "Mom," he said, his voice shaking. "What is this?" I froze. My breath caught when I saw what he was holding: the letters. Those letters had been sealed away since before he was born. They were from his father, or rather, from the man Daniel thought was his father. Letters full of guilt, regret, and the truth I had buried to protect him. He looked at me, waiting. I didn't have words. I felt my entire past staring me in the face through my own child's eyes. "Tell me," he said again, quieter this time. "Who is he really?" I sat down, feeling the weight of 20 years crash over me. "Daniel, your father wasn't the man you think he was. He made mistakes, terrible ones. I hid them because I didn't want you to carry his sins." He threw the letters onto the desk. "You made me carry a lie instead." The words hit harder than any slap. He stormed out before I could explain, leaving the front door wide open. The rain outside swallowed his footsteps, and the echo of that sound still follows me to this day. That was the night my son crossed the line, not because he found the letters, but because he stopped believing in me. The days that followed felt endless. Every morning I made 2 cups of coffee out of habit, setting one down at his empty seat. The silence in the house felt heavier than grief ever did. I tried calling, texting, nothing. I left voicemails he'd never listened to. The pain of being ignored by the person you raised is unlike any other. You begin questioning everything: your love, your choices, even your right to be a parent. Weeks later, I found myself sitting by the window, watching the streetlights flicker on. That was when I saw him, Daniel, standing outside in the rain, soaked, staring at the house like a stranger. My heart stopped. I rushed to the door and opened it, but he didn't step in. "I read everything," he said softly. "All those years, you carried that alone." Tears burned my eyes. "I thought I was protecting you." He shook his head. "You were protecting yourself, Mom. From me. From the truth." The truth, it hung there like thunder. For the first time, I realized he was right. I hadn't just hidden the letters for him. I'd hidden them for me, to erase my guilt, to rewrite our story, to pretend the past could be buried. He stepped closer. "I hated you for lying," he said. "But I also hate how much I missed you." That broke me. I reached for him, and he didn't pull away this time. His arms around me felt both foreign and familiar. We stood there for a long time, holding on to the only thing we had left: each other. The storm outside eased into a soft drizzle, and for the first time in months, the house didn't feel like a graveyard of memories. It felt alive again. But forgiveness isn't instant. It's not a hug or a single tear. It's a slow unraveling of everything that went wrong. That night, we talked for hours. He asked about his father, not the picture I'd painted, but the real man. I told him about the debts, the drinking, the lies, and how I'd once packed our things to leave, but stayed because I wanted Daniel to have something that looked like a family. He listened quietly, his fingers tracing the edge of his cup. When I finished, he said, "You always told me that love meant telling the truth, even when it hurts." "I know," I whispered. "And I failed you." "No," he said, looking up. "You were human." Those words, "you were human," healed something in me that had been broken for decades. Because sometimes the hardest forgiveness isn't the one you receive, but the one you allow yourself to accept. Weeks passed. Slowly, we found our rhythm again. We started cooking dinner together, something we hadn't done since his father died. Sometimes we'd laugh. Other times we'd just sit in silence, the kind that felt safe. One afternoon, I found Daniel in the garage, going through old boxes. "I'm getting rid of the things that don't belong to us anymore," he said. He pulled out the letters, now bound with a red ribbon. "But these, I want to keep. They're part of who we are even if they hurt." I nodded, understanding something I couldn't put into words. We can't erase our pasts. We can only decide what to do with what remains. That night, I wrote Daniel a letter of my own, the kind I should have written long ago. I told him everything I never said, how scared I was after his father's death, how I'd built walls out of love, and how guilt can disguise itself as protection. When I left the letter on his desk, I didn't expect a reply. But the next morning, I found one waiting for me. "Mom, you don't have to keep apologizing. We both lost pieces of ourselves that night, but maybe that's what makes us real. I don't want perfect parents. I just want you." I cried for a long time after reading that. Not because it hurt, but because it healed. Months later, Daniel moved out for college. The day he left, he hugged me tighter than ever before. "Promise me one thing," he said. "Never hide from me again." "I promise," I whispered. As I watched him drive away, I realized that love isn't about control. It's about letting someone see you as you are, flawed, scared, and still trying. The line had been crossed, yes. But maybe it had to be, for us to finally see each other clearly. Broken hearts sometimes, the people we hurt are the ones we were trying hardest to protect. If this story touched you, remember silence doesn't keep us safe. It only builds walls between hearts that need each other. Movie camera watch till the end of every story, because sometimes what breaks us also rebuilds us. If this one moved you, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might help someone else find the courage to tell the truth they've been hiding.